find a need. If you don't find it, create a need for the people.
God has given us.
He's spoiling our daily bread.
I always talk about is that when you look at adverts for alcoholic beverages,
Well, welcome back to the Morning Light. This is Sunny TV. My name is Laura Lawson, and this is the segment where we live better. And this is where we have the conversation that actually matters. And today we are talking about work-life balance, managing work pressure and time. Now, with increasing demands and busy schedules, how do we stay productive without becoming overwhelmed? Well, joining me in the studio, Live Better segment will discuss balancing work, personal life, and relationships. And joining me is a beautiful lady. You'll see her very soon. She is in the person of Mrs. Mary A.S. Dixon, a business development manager and consultant. Well, before we go into the conversation with our august guest, let's hear your thoughts.
My lectures are in the afternoon and in the evening, so I come to work early around 7 and I leave here. If my lectures are, let me say, 1:30, I'll leave here like 12 or 12:30. Yeah, then I'll get to campus. Yeah.
And other activities, your personal?
Yeah, then I close from lectures like 5. I go to the gym and 2 hours, and I study for like 2 hours. So by 9:10, then I'll be asleep. Then I'll wake up the following morning again. So that's the routine.
Well, my work is very stressful. I'm a media person, and so I work 24 hours. Sometimes I can run a 36-hour shift, but I make sure that I take breaks to either watch a movie or, maybe play some video games or just sit at home and just relax without doing anything. And by doing that, you refresh yourself, you refresh your mind, and you can be productive in whatever you are doing. Yeah, because if stress is not managed well, you break down. And I have had personal experiences where I had to be admitted at the hospital because I didn't take a break. I kept myself going. So yeah, it's good to take a break once in a while, just to manage your stress. Yeah.
Stress. Oh, if I close from work, maybe I'll go and relax maybe 15 minutes before I go and bath, before I take my food or go and sleep. Yes, so
That's how you manage
every day.
Oh, so it's a little bit hectic to be an engineer, especially to be an engineer, right? You tend to have to balance life, right, with your time. So personally, I wake up, I do all the necessary things I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to get to work around 8 o'clock, right? Now, once you get to work, as a fiber team or fiber head, I have to make sure that the teams are actually partitioned where they are able to go at each direction. It's a cluster. So we have various directions where the team actually works. I get it here. So it's more of you wake up in the morning, you do what you are supposed to do at home, you get to work, you strategize and make sure that the team are available at wherever they are supposed to be available. Yeah. And some of us, we are fortunate to get to work with a very good company that's Dynamic Data Solutions, and we provide internet services and also vast solution services. And in fact, we do a lot.
So how do you manage that with your personal life?
That is work, right? That is work. Your personal life is basically after 5. You understand? So after 5, maybe till the following morning, 6 o'clock, where you have to move. You go to work, you have what you are supposed to have in the night. You pray to God and then you sleep. Yeah. So basically, that is my routine from Monday to Friday. So Saturday is different. Saturday you have it to yourself. Saturday and Sunday you have it to yourself. Where maybe sometimes you go on social media, you check on friends that maybe you've seen them for quite some time now. Social media, we actually visit social media that we visit our own friends here. So I think that is basically, yeah, that's it for me.
Well, thank you for that, for your opinions. Coming back into the studio, we have Mrs. Mary A.S. Dixon. Mrs. Dixon, welcome to the studio.
Thank
You know, this is Sunny TV, and this is the Morning Light. We are grateful to have you, and you are looking so shiny.
Thank you.
Great. So we're talking about work-life balance, managing work pressure, and time. My first question, is work-life balance realistic or just an ideal concept?
Okay, in my view, I would say it is realistic to some extent, but it depends on the individual, what you decide to prioritize at each point in your life.
Okay.
So, for instance, when we talk of work-life balance, it is probably the ability to balance your demands from work against your needs when it comes to your personal life and your family life, or even the relationships you have. So, at each point in your life, you have to decide, I want to dedicate this specific time to work. I have to dedicate this specific time to my personal needs or my family needs. So you would have to bargain, you'd have to prioritize at each point in your life, but it depends on what you decide to prioritize. So it's realistic to some extent, but it depends on the individual's needs at each point in their life.
Well, you know that there are times when people actually feel guilty for resting.
Yeah.
So, well, my question is, how can people manage time better without feeling guilty about rest?
Oh, for the guilt, it's always going to be there.
Really?
But you need to be intentional. Let me use myself as an example.
Please.
So I just celebrated my 10th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
I have 2 kids.
Right.
But we decided we were going to go on a tour as a couple. So we visited 3 regions. We had to give the kids to my mom for about 5 days because we realized it was important for us to bond. Okay. And we left, just the 2 of us, touring Kumasi, Volta region, Eastern region. Yes.
Wow.
So I feel you have to know what is important to you at each point in your life. And rest, if you don't rest, you are going to break down. So what is the point breaking down when you are not able to achieve whatever it is you were working towards?
Right.
So rest is important.
Definitely, it is important. But you know, there's a fine line between being lazy and resting.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we lean a little bit into guilt because we feel resting too much or resting by itself. Well, I know some people in my life, the moment they sit down for a while, then they're like, hey, I'm being lazy. And you know, it's like an attitude.
You have to do something.
Yes. So even if they are watching something important on television, when they are enjoying it too much, you see them start feeling, hey, I have to go and do something. And I'm like, oh my goodness, really? Yes. How do you draw the line between laziness and rest?
Yes, so I used to feel that way as well. You know, as a mother parent, you always want to have things in place. Let me clean.
Yeah.
But I think I had that aha moment. There was a time I broke down. I wasn't well because constantly I was like cleaning every day, making sure the kids are okay, ironing. I used to iron like piles of clothes for the kids.
Wow.
Then one day I told myself, there are days these things can help, can wait.
Can wait, yes.
Yes, and you realize you take a short nap, maybe a 30-minute nap, a 1-hour nap. You wake up and life is still going
refreshed,
on.
Yes.
So rest, I mean, you have to make the intentional efforts, and it makes you more productive. It makes you more refreshed, and emotionally, it makes you more calmer. So you are able to even think straight when you are working on things. Yeah.
So let's talk about, boundaries because, there's a place that I know and their slogan is the reward for hard work is more work. No. When you are more responsible, then they keep piling. So let's say at the workplace, you are so responsible. So, Mr. Dixon, can you handle this for me? And probably you don't know how to say no. So you are always, okay, I'll do it. Maybe because you're that person who likes to see things happen. Then you have your home responsibilities, you have your social life and all that. What are some of the boundaries that we can draw to help us build a balance?
Time boundaries.
Time boundaries.
Time boundaries. You know this phone and our laptops, if you are not careful,
they control our lives
throughout the day.
Yes.
So from 8 to 5, if you know that is the period you need to work, you need to make sure you prioritize the things you have to work on and make sure you exhaust that during that period. After 5 p.m., that attention has to shift. It's either family preparing to get the family to eat, get the kids ready for work, for bed, doing their homework. make sure you are able to allocate time for the things you want to do in a day. If you don't, everything just comes together and then you're just running about thinking you're doing something. Meanwhile, you end the day and you realize nothing productive was done. So time boundaries, allocate time. Maybe probably in the morning, myself, when I wake up, sometimes I work from home remotely. So I get the kids ready, I drop them at school. From 8 till about 12 is the power time. So emails, messages I need to respond to, work I need to attend to, I do that. Maybe between 12, 1, I take a break. Then I do another 2 hours. I pick the kids up. I round up my work. Then from 5, my laptop is closed.
Wow.
So if you don't allocate time, you'd realize you'd be working throughout the night. And most of the time, I realize if you work remotely, if you are not careful, you will spend your whole day behind the PC because you feel, oh, I'm working from home. Meanwhile, at the workplace, you know by 5, you're closing your laptop. So we need to be intentional about certain time boundaries.
Right.
The other thing will be the personal time and the family time. You need to make sure you allocate time for that. So you could decide that maybe on Sundays for an hour you are with the family. You're probably watching a movie together, or you're probably playing a game together. Maybe on Saturdays you decide to take a 1 hour break, go to the beach side, sit alone. Myself, I do that once a month. I try to sit somewhere alone with nobody, me time. Maybe get a cup of coffee, a juice, just by myself.
Sit by yourself.
Yes, and just reflect.
Wow.
So it's very important for us to be intentional about some of these things. And realize we make a lot of progress and we are happier.
Yeah, actually. You seem well put together when it comes to that. You seem to know how to put yourself, but many are in struggle of that. How about the subject of delegation? Does it make you lazy?
No.
And how much can you delegate? Because, let's say in a home, the Bible even talks about virtuous women having helpers and all. So how much can we do? Because let's say we have house helps at home. We give them the the right to perhaps cross boundaries. And by crossing boundaries, maybe some people may want them clean my bedroom, clean my husband's this, cook this, and all that. How much of delegation do we do and, build a balance around it?
Okay, so this issue is a bit delicate.
Okay.
I'll just talk about how I how I handle mine, because different things work for different people. Myself, I'm not really a fan of nannies or house help. So for the past 10 years, for my 2 kids, I have managed to take care of them.
That couldn't have been easy.
It hasn't been easy, but thankfully I had my sister staying with me for a while till she relocated.
Okay.
My mom also lives around, so I once a while take the kids to her. But when it comes to house chores, for the past years, I handle it myself.
Okay.
And I realize with these things, when you do it consistently, it becomes a part of you. And initially, tasks that I would use probably the whole day, I realize the time minimized. So within 3 hours, I'm done with the chores I have to do. And I make sure I don't let my phone be a distraction. The phone is away. I have my music on like the highest volume, singing, working. In 3-4 hours, I'm done. Another thing I realized, you are not lazy when you delegate. There are days where, I don't know if you've noticed these laundry places at the Shell shops.
Yes.
There are days where I tell myself, even though there's a washing machine, I can't wash and hang. I take it there, they do it nicely, fold them. I pick it up in the evening, I just arrange. So it depends on how much you are willing to delegate.
Okay.
And in delegation too, you have to make sure you have an oversight over whatever is going on.
Right.
But it is not, you are not lazy when you decide to delegate. It actually gives you more power and more time to yourself to focus on the important things.
Well, this is interesting. Well, we're still talking about how to build balance between work and life pressures. This is the Morning Light, and we are having the Live Better segment. We'll be back.
To find encouragement, be a part of a faith community, get prayer, grow in your faith, watch inspiring videos, and watch Christian TV anytime and anywhere for free. The Sunny TV GH app on iOS and Android, a great place to belong, grow, connect, go. Free Christian radio and TV in the palm of your hand.
Welcome back for the break. So we're still on managing our time and building a balance with our work life and pressure. So let's talk about how, from a faith perspective, why is balance important?
Balance is very important. There are lots of verses that talk about balancing our life and knowing times and seasons for things. I think Ecclesiastes talks about the time to die, a time to be given birth to. There are lots of things around that. And there's also this verse that caught my attention in Proverbs 23:4, admonishing us not to be so eager and working hard to get rich. The truth is, I realize it is not our efforts that brings the success or the riches. Our efforts comes in at a point, but it is God who blesses us.
Actually.
And even God, in creating the earth or the world, he dedicated a day to rest. So that tells us how important rest is. And you realize that when you rest, you become more productive, you become more creative. So it has to be integrated into our lives. It has to be a part of our lives. That's why there's day and night. So you work during the day, you sleep during the night. So when people say what sleep is for the weak, I don't believe in that.
Yes,
sleep
I keep
is
saying
very important. It is very necessary. It should be a part of our lives.
Well, let's talk about our faith. You know, we have 24 hours. There's so much to be done. Some people just close their eyes and they forget about everything, and then they do a little bit of the resting, too much of the resting. There are some people who try and they build the balance, and there are those who also just don't have a break. Now, let's talk about faith, our relationship with God. How does it impact our ability to build balance?
Our relationship with God, for me, I would say it makes you calm when you're overwhelmed. It makes you calm when you don't know which direction to take. There are some days we decide that, okay, let me think about how to tackle this issue or attend to this problem. And we crack our brains, but you realize you just sit down, reflect, probably take your Bible, a devotion, meditate, and then the answer comes.
It comes.
So the closer you get to God, God says, bring your burden to me, all you who are weary.
Right.
So if he's telling us to bring our burdens to him, that means he is ready to support us. If we are not going to him, then we wouldn't get the answers we need. So the closer we draw to God, the more easier and lighter he makes our burden. And you realize that you're able to navigate life. Sometimes you wouldn't have to even do it on your own, but he would bring you helpers as and when you need them.
So you know what? Why don't you give me, let's say from your perspective, let's run through the day.
Okay.
Help me paint a picture for our listeners on how to build a balance.
Okay.
With, let's say you have 2 children, you have responsibilities as a wife, you have responsibilities as a business partner, you have responsibility as, let's say, an employee, you have your social life and all that.
Yeah.
From, let's say, I don't know, should we start from 8, or let's say when we wake up? Let's run through the day to help build balance.
Sure.
Including the points where you have to pick the coffee and pick the small walks and the water. Please let's paint a picture.
So on a normal day when I wake up, usually the kids' school are it's just about 10 minutes away from home. So by maybe 6, we are up. I get them ready. They'll take their shower. I make their breakfast. We would have gone through our homework the previous night, signed, so I don't need to go through again. So they have their breakfast. Latest by 7:10, we are out of the house. I drop them in school. So after dropping them, I come back. If there's any laundry to do, I attend to that. Whilst doing that, I try and take a shower. Afterwards, I'll probably make some food for myself. Then by 8, I'm behind my PC. So by 8, I start responding to emails, checking what I have to do. Because I work remotely, I work with people at the other side of the world. So they are a bit earlier than we are. So I start going through emails, working on things I have to do, probably making calls. There are some days I'm working from home, but I would have to attend meetings. So in between, say the 8 to 12, I try and attend to all these things. And then maybe around 12 to 1, I take a break. Sometimes in the break, I can decide I want to watch maybe a short series, Sometimes I'll just take my phone. I'm an avid social media user.
Okay.
So I probably go through some of the pages that I
Right.
follow, check
Right.
some few things, and then I get back to work again. So between 1, 2, I try rounding up my work, contact my colleagues if there's something else I need to do. If not, by 2:30, I'm preparing to go and pick the kids up. So I bring them back home. They take their shower as soon as they get home. Then they eat, do their homework. They do their homework, learn for a while, and then they probably watch TV till about 8. Then myself, I do some other things by the side. So I use that period to attend to some of these things. So maybe scheduling posts for people, engaging with their clients, doing other things that are personal to me. I use that period. And then once a while, I have a good friend, we catch up. So we talk about, okay, what have you been up to? Have you been able to achieve this goal? We are kind of like accountability partners. So we just catch up maybe for about 30, 40 minutes. And then the kids retire to bed. We say a prayer, read the Bible. Then I also go to the room.
Wow.
Then I'll probably read. I read a bit. Sometimes I do my Bible reading. I do my Bible reading most of the time early in the morning or
Late
before I
in the
go
night.
to bed.
Okay.
Yes, I say my prayer, then I go to bed. I'm a fan of going to bed with my phone, so I'm now trying to
Control that.
wean that habit. So most of the time, I'll just put the phone far away from me. There's an alarm on it, so I need it a bit closer to me so I can wake up.
Oh, wow.
But typically, that is my day. And it's similar to when I have to go to the office. It's just that when I go to the office, I close by 5, so the kids are with my mom. So by 6:30, I pick them up when I get back to Dansoman. Then we go home, then the routine continues.
You know, I'm listening to you, I'm like, hey, you have it so put together. But I'm sure it came with discipline.
Yes,
I know there's something that you said that runs through the conversation. You talked about leaning on your parent, your mom,
Yes,
and then your
yes,
siblings, and this
yes.
proximity.
Yes.
So now let's take a situation where, let's say I live at Ashale Butchie, and my children's school are Spintex because perhaps I was living there before, and I haven't taken them out. My work is at Ridge. And my family is at Nungwa. You know, I'm just throwing it around because from how you have put it,
Yeah.
you have them, your support system around
Around,
you.
yes.
Their children's school are close by.
very,
I don't know how far your work is from you, but because you do remote, it also helps. So the time intervals also helps to save.
Yes.
Now, in a situation where you're scattered all over the place, your life is scattered like that. How do you first? Does that help in managing time, building like drawing all your resources and all your life together? Does it help? And then how do you do that? Because, you know, rent can be difficult. So like I said, maybe you're living at Spintex and you move to Ashale Butchie, but your children are already in school. Do you have to move them? Or do you have to still, what do you do? How do you build such a balance?
So there are different ways to look at this. So for instance, looking at the distance between the school and your home, it could be the school could provide like transportation services, probably picking up kids from the home to the school. If that's an option you are able to afford, it will be good to do that. So you don't need to drive all the way to drop the kids in school before going to work. So there's a bus that picks them up, drops them, brings them back home. That is an option for you.
Okay.
I mean, the other thing will be to try and wake up early. If that is the school you still want the kids to attend, there are instances where people have tried to look for similar schools, like schools that
Yes.
are equally good,
Yeah.
so they move the kids away from there. But depending on how much time you have, okay, it's...
No, but
it's,
if we are looking at how traffic can take at least an hour and a half,
yes, it can be exhausting.
It is.
It can be exhausting. For me, thankfully, my work starts by 9 a.m. Yes, so it affords me that time to, I mean,
all home
within
activities
40
together.
minutes from Dansoman to Abilimpi, I should be at work before 9. So
Okay.
it affords me that opportunity. But if you need to ask for help, I think patronizing maybe school shuttle services, if that is going to help, you can do that. And maybe a nanny. I know people complain about nannies a lot these days.
Actually.
But you can only pray because we can't do everything. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And if you break down, what's the point? The family cannot go on. So it's important to just apply wisdom. That is what I will encourage people in this situation to do. Apply wisdom and seek God's face. I'm sure He will direct you on the right path to take. Yes.
Wow. Before you take your last words, give us your my last question to you. How does workplace culture affect our ability to disconnect and recharge?
Workplace culture. I mean, I can't overemphasize that. It is crucial. I've been there before, and you won't believe how a toxic workplace can affect you even at home. Because, we spend most of our time at the workplace, 8 to 5. That's like almost half of your day in the workplace. So imagine you coming to work, you are tired, you're exhausted, and you are coming there to draw probably inspiration or let your hair down, clear your mind, and you are coming into a workplace or a culture that is even going to aggravate that. I can't overemphasize. It plays a crucial role because the people you are connecting with at the workplace are going to affect you, your emotionally, mentally, and it can even affect your productivity. So if you are coming to the workplace and it is going to draw the strength out of you, how are you going to be productive? What are you going to do? You are going to be grumpy, and then you add that on, go home, and then it's your family suffering. You are blasting everyone.
I know. I know. The beast is in.
Yes. So it's very important. So workplace culture, it's very important.
But how are we able to identify those stress angles and all that? Because sometimes you're working and you may be, some people can actually sleep and they are tired.
Yes.
So how do we even know when we're actually resting?
Resting. So resting. When you are resting.
Do we need to do medical checkups and stuff like that to know that we are resting or to afford us rest? Or we should just...
I think for my phone, I think when I'm overworking, I get an alert. So your heartbeat rate,
right.
Sometimes it tells me
your heart
over
rate.
this period. Then I realize, okay, I wasn't sleeping well. I was over stressing myself. I was too aggressive.
Which means we need to invest in resources that also helps us to manage. Because you have a watch that guides you with all of that.
Yes.
Wow.
So sometimes I get that alert and then I realize, okay, let me take a break. And then you realize it starts settling down. So some of these things can help. And sometimes you sit and you look within yourself, you realize you are not okay. You realize things are not okay. And people can even tell, Mary, you look stressed, you look moody, you are not yourself.
Yeah.
It shows, and we have to take all these signs very seriously. You realize you go to the workplace, you are not doing anything, you are seated, and tasks are not being completed.
Yes.
There's a problem.
So, Mrs. Dixon, what are your last words for us on managing our time, pressure, and work balance?
So I'll say work-life balance, it is realistic, as I said. You have to be intentional. You have to know when to delegate. You can't do everything on your own. You need to schedule breaks for yourself. You are a human being. Even a machine has to pause at a point and rest. So know when you have to rest. And sometimes the signs are there. There are the triggers are there. We turn a blind eye on it. Make sure that you know yourself, know when you are not in that right state of mind, and schedule that break. You need it. You come back more energized, more productive, and you realize that you are giving of the best of yourself, and your family, your friends, everyone enjoys you better, and people feel happy around you. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Mary A.S. Dixon. What's the A.S. for?
Abnasewa.
Mrs. Mary Abnasewa Dixon. She is a business development manager and a consultant. And you see how she's broken it down for us, how to manage work, pressure, and time, building a life balance. We are so grateful for having you in our studios. We hope when we call on you, you definitely come again because we've learned so much from you.
Thank
we are
you.
grateful. And actually, I'm admiring what you're doing. There are picked a lot I'm going to put in my life because work-life balance, I need it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Live Better. We are going for a commercial break. When we come back, it's Health Corner.